There is a furnace in every human being. Most never light it. Let that sink in for a moment. Most people never realize that inside them lives a power greater than their circumstances, stronger than their pain, and deeper than their fears. But this fire, this inner furnace, it doesn't light itself. It waits for you. Let me tell you a story. A man stood alone in the cold, broke and beaten. His business had failed. Friends had vanished. His bank account was empty, but worse, so was his hope. The night was dark, the world silent. But somewhere in that darkness, something ancient stirred within him. Not anger, not even desperation. Resolve. He said to himself, I will rise, not because I have anything left, because I refuse to stay down. That man was no different than you. He didn't have special genes or secret luck. What he had was a moment of decision, a moment when he chose to awaken the fire within. Mental toughness is not born. It is not inherited. It is forged in the silence, in the chaos, in the nights when you cry yourself to sleep, wondering if any of this matters. It is in those moments, when the world is no longer watching, that you meet the real you, the one beneath the titles, the masks, the noise. It is here that a choice is made, to light the fire or let it die. Too many people wait. They wait for motivation, for a perfect moment, for someone to rescue them. But let me tell you something life-changing. No one is coming, no mentor, no lover, no savior. The door you're waiting for has always been inside you. And the key, it's called courage. You see, we've been sold a lie, that life should be easy, that success is meant to come without suffering, that strength is the absence of pain. But ask any great soul, Hill, Lincoln, Marcus Aurelius, Mandela, and they'll all whisper the same truth. Strength is born in the furnace, in the fire you thought would destroy you. This fire, it's not outside, it's not in the job, not in the applause, it's within. And it doesn't need comfort to grow, it needs pressure. It needs resistance, it needs trials, because diamonds are not born in sunlight, they are born in the depths. So what is this fire? Truly, it is the decision to stand when it would be easier to fall. It is the silence that speaks louder than fear. It is the grit to try again and again and again, even when logic says you shouldn't. Mental toughness is not an emotion. It is not confidence. It is not motivation. It is a vow, a sacred contract between you and your highest self. No matter what, I will not quit on who I'm becoming, and I must warn you, this fire will cost you. It will cost you your excuses, your comfort, your addiction to ease. But what it gives in return is priceless self-respect, conviction, power, freedom. Because nothing is stronger than the man or woman who has learned to believe in themselves in silence, who has fought battles no one sees and has still chosen to show up every single day for their future. So I ask you now, and don't answer quickly, is your fire lit, or have you been living in smoke and waiting for a spark? Do not wait another year, another month, another day. Because the fire within you doesn't last forever. It fades if ignored. But if you breathe into it, if you protect it, feed it, fan it, it will become a force of nature. And once that happens, once your mind, heart, you become unstoppable. This is your moment, not tomorrow. Now, stand up, look within, and light the fire. The strongest steel must go through the hottest fire. But here's the question no one asks. What makes the steel strong? Is it the heat or the decision not to break in the heat? You see, we talk about mental toughness like it's some badge of honor, like it's something people are either born with or not. But that's not just wrong. It's dangerous. Mental toughness isn't about being cold. It's not about being emotionless. And it's certainly not about acting like nothing gets to you. No. True mental toughness is something much deeper. It's emotional maturity. It's philosophical clarity. It's spiritual discipline. Let's strip it down. Mental toughness is the ability to remain grounded in your purpose, no matter how hard the storm hits. It's about choosing action when fear screams at you to freeze. It's the muscle of the mind, and like any muscle, it's built through resistance. Napoleon Hill said it best. Every adversity, every failure, every heart attack carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Mental toughness is the soil where that seed is planted. It's what lets you stay calm when others panic, focused when others quit, and hopeful when others drown in doubt. Let me give you a real example. During the Great Depression, Hill himself lost everything: financial security, stability, peace. He was nearly homeless. His book, Think and Grow Rich, was yet to be published. No one believed in him. His dream, his life's work, was in ruins. But he did not give in. He knew something others didn't. That true strength is not the absence of failure. It's the response to it. He kept writing. He kept showing up, not because he felt confident, but because he had decided who he was. That's mental toughness, not confidence, not success. Decision. Here's a truth that might sting. Most people aren't weak because life is hard. They're weak because they expect life to be easy. But when you accept that life will test you, that you will face heartbreak, rejection, confusion, failure, that's when your real journey begins. Because now, you're no longer shocked when pain arrives. You're ready. Let's go deeper. Mental toughness is made of 3 pillars. 1, definiteness of purpose. This is the compass. Without it, the mind drifts. You cannot be tough for the sake of being tough. There must be a reason, a why that burns deeper than any obstacle in your path. This is what gives suffering meaning. This is what makes sacrifice sacred. Discipline of thought. The human mind is like a wild animal. If you don't control your thoughts will control you. Mental toughness means training your mind to choose what serves you over what tempts you. It means recognizing when your inner dialogue is lying to you and replacing fear with focus. 3, endurance of spirit. Every storm will test your faith. There will be days where the vision feels far, where you're exhausted, alone, misunderstood. Mental toughness is not about feeling good during those times. It's about continuing anyway, because your soul knows what your emotions have forgotten. Think of a boxer in the 12th round. He's tired, bloody, his vision is blurry, but his feet keep moving. Why? Because he trained his spirit to last longer than his body. That's mental toughness. Not how you feel in round 1, but who you become when it's all on the line. Let's be clear, mental toughness does not mean pretending to be okay. It doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means acknowledging your feelings, but refusing to let them dictate your choices. It's saying, yes, I am afraid, but I will move forward anyway. It's saying, yes, I am tired, but this vision is worth the pain. Mental toughness is love in action. It's loyalty to your highest self, even when your current self wants to quit. So I ask you now, what are you loyal to? Your excuses or your evolution, your fears or your future, your temporary emotions or your eternal calling, because you cannot serve both. Mental toughness means you stop being a victim of life and start becoming a creator of it. It means you no longer look for a way out, you look for a way through. It means your inner world becomes stronger than your outer world. And that is the beginning of a life no storm can shake, a mind no fear can break, a soul no failure can silence. No external enemy has ever defeated a man who conquered himself. You think your problem is out there, the economy, the boss, the relationship, the market, the world. But the truth, if you're ready to hear it, is this: the greatest threat to your strength lies within your own mind. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't attack, it erodes. Bit by bit, day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize you're no longer fighting for your dreams. You're surviving inside your fears, and it happens quietly. Mental toughness is not just destroyed by the big failures. No, it is corroded slowly by silent killers, invisible assassins that live inside your thoughts, beliefs, and habits. You don't see them coming, but they are there, and they are lethal. Let's name them, because what you do not name, you cannot fight. 1, self-doubt, the thief of greatness. Self-doubt doesn't come kicking down the door. It comes like fog, slowly, silently. 1 missed opportunity, 1 voice saying, maybe I'm not ready. 1 comparison to someone else's success, and suddenly your fire dims. Your decisions get smaller. Your vision shrinks. Understand this: self-doubt isn't just a feeling. It's a belief system. And like all beliefs, it grows stronger with repetition. The more you question yourself, the more evidence your brain collects to prove you're not enough. But here's the antidote: action in the face of doubt, not waiting to feel ready, but doing it because you're not. Confidence is not the cause of action. Action is the cause of confidence. 2, distraction, the silent saboteur. We live in an age of noise, endless scrolling, meaningless conversations, emotional junk food. And the most dangerous thing about distraction is that it feels harmless. But every time you reach for your phone instead of your purpose, every time you chase stimulation instead of solitude, you are choosing temporary escape over permanent strength. Mental toughness requires focus, not just to do more, but to be more, because what you focus on, you become. You cannot build an unshakable mind on a foundation of scattered thoughts. So ask yourself, is your attention aligned with your ambition? 3, emotional reactivity, the fire without discipline. How often do you react out of anger? How often do you speak from fear? How often do you make decisions based on how you feel in a fleeting moment? The Stoics had a word for this: passions. To them, the enemy of wisdom was not ignorance, it was uncontrolled emotion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Mental toughness means pausing before reacting. It means sitting with discomfort without letting it drive your behavior. It means being the observer of your mind, not the slave to it. The person who can master their emotional response masters their life. 4, negative inner dialogue, the poisoned well. You talk to yourself more than anyone else does. But would you say those things to a friend, to a child, to someone you love? And yet we speak to ourselves with cruelty. You always mess up. You'll never make it. You're a fraud. These words become identity. And identity drives action or inaction. But here's the truth. You do not have to believe everything you think. You can challenge that voice. Replace it. Rewrite it. Not with fake positivity, but with purposeful truth. Your inner dialogue must become your coach, not your critic. Because no warrior ever won a war with a sword pointed inward. 5. Fear of judgment, the invisible cage. How many dreams have you buried because you feared what others would say? Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being mocked. Fear of standing out. But listen closely. The greatest achievements in history were once considered foolish. Einstein, Rosa Parks, Galileo, Hill. They were ridiculed before they were revered. Mental toughness means living by inner approval, not outer applause. It means understanding that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, just a sign of your difference. And your difference is your power. Stop playing small to make others comfortable. You were not born to fit in. You were born to rise. These silent killers, self-doubt, distraction, reactivity, inner criticism, fear of judgment, they are termites in the foundation of your strength. But here's the gift. Once you see them, you can defeat them. Not by ignoring them, not by pretending they don't exist, but by bringing them into the light. By choosing discipline over reaction, purpose over fear, truth over lies. So I'll ask you again, what's killing your strength, and are you still feeding it? You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not too far gone. You are simply untrained in the art of mastering yourself. But that ends today, because now you see the enemy, and when the enemy is visible, victory becomes possible. You become what you think about all day long. Ralph Waldo Emerson, if your thoughts were bricks, what kind of house would you be living in right now? Would it be a fortress, solid, calm, unshakable? Or would it be a collapsing hut, rattling in every wind of fear, insecurity, and noise? The truth is this: every thought you allow, every belief you feed, is a brick laid in the structure of your destiny. And yet, most people are building their futures with broken pieces they didn't even choose. Mental toughness is not just about the ability to endure pain. It is the mastery of thought. The relentless discipline to decide which thoughts deserve to live in your mind and which ones must be cast out like thieves in the temple. Because your mind is a temple, and if you don't protect it, anything can walk in: doubt, negativity, distraction, regret, and worst of all, smallness. Let's start with a brutal truth. Most people are not mentally weak because life has beaten them down. They are weak because they never learned to control their own thoughts. Picture this: a warrior stands on the battlefield, sword in hand. But instead of fighting the enemy, he turns and begins attacking himself, slashing at his own body, blaming himself for past mistakes, doubting whether he belongs here at all. That's how most people live, not defeated by the world, but by their own mind. Their thoughts become traitors, draining their power, stealing their potential. This is why the discipline of thought is not optional, it is essential. Because the world will always test you, but the strongest pressure will always come from within. So what does it really mean to discipline your thoughts? It means becoming the gatekeeper of your inner world. It means learning to separate truth from emotion, reality from fear, signal from noise. Let's walk through the pillars that make up a fortified mind. 1. Self-awareness, the watchtower. Before you can command your thoughts, you must observe them. Self-awareness is the ability to see your own mental patterns without judgment, to notice when you spiral, to catch the moment when doubt starts to whisper, to recognize the stories you've been telling yourself and question them. The Stoics practiced this daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal not to impress the world, but to expose the traps of his own mind. Because to master yourself, you must first see yourself clearly. Practice this pause during moments of stress and ask, what am I believing right now? And then, is that belief helping or hurting me? Awareness breaks the cycle, and from awareness, power is born too. Thought selection, choosing your weapons. Once you become aware of your thoughts, the next step is selection. You must choose which ones get to stay and which ones must go. Not all thoughts are facts. Not all emotions are truth. Many are echoes of the past, fear-based illusions, or the conditioning of a world that never wanted you to stand tall. So when fear says, you're not good enough, you respond, thank you for your concern, but I choose a better thought. Thought discipline is the skill of reprogramming, of interrupting the old narrative and replacing it with one forged in intention. This is not fake positivity. It's mental leadership. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who commands them. 3. Mental repetition, laying the brickwork. The brain learns through repetition. Neural pathways deepen every time a thought is repeated. This means every time you speak defeat, you're reinforcing it. But every time you choose strength, even silently, you are laying another brick in your mental fortress. Affirmations are not magic, but they are mental weightlifting. They are the reps that condition your mind to hold its shape under stress. Speak power. Speak purpose. even if you don't feel it yet, especially then, because the body follows the mind. 4. Emotional containment. Guarding the gates discipline of thought also means managing your emotional responses. When anger rises, pause. When fear clouds judgment, breathe. When anxiety rushes in, observe it without obedience. Emotional discipline is about allowing the feeling without becoming the feeling. The untrained mind is reactive. The disciplined mind is responsive. It does not avoid emotion, but it does not let emotion hijack the mission, because the mission is too important, and the moment you lose command of your thoughts, you forfeit control of your destiny. 5. Mental fasting. Detoxing the mind. We fast from food to cleanse the body, but when was the last time you fasted from noise? From social media, negativity, endless scrolling gossip. The mind, too, becomes toxic when overwhelmed with garbage. Try this. Take 1 day a week to disconnect from the world and reconnect with your own mind. Walk in silence. Write. Reflect. Think. You cannot hear your soul if your mind is always filled with someone else's voice. Let me ask you now, what would your life look like if your mind was as disciplined as your ambition? How would you lead? How would you love? How would you live? The world does not need more clever people. It needs strong minds calm under fire, grounded in truth, guided by vision. That kind of mind is not built overnight. It is built daily, in the quiet hours, in the dark seasons, in the moments no one claps for. Brick by brick, thought by thought, decision by decision, until one day, when the storm comes, and it will come, you stand in the center of the chaos, and the world marvels at your peace. Because your mind is no longer a battleground, it is a fortress. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. Khalil Gibran, let me ask you this. What if the very thing you've been trying to avoid is the thing that was meant to forge you? We run from pain. We hide from failure. We fear rejection like it's the end of our worth. But what if, just what if, those experiences are not the curses we believe they are, but the exact fire required to awaken the strength inside you? Because here's the truth. Nothing builds mental toughness faster than pain faced with courage. Think of any person you admire, any leader, any great mind, any warrior of character. Every single one was shaped, not in comfort, but in chaos. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before leading a nation through civil war. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television and was publicly fired. Rejection didn't stop them. Pain didn't break them. They alchemized it. They took what others would run from and turned it into fuel. And so can you. But first, let's redefine the words that paralyze so many. 1. Pain is a messenger, not a monster. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your mentor, your internal siren, calling your attention to what must be healed, grown, strengthened. You touch a flame and pain pulls your hand back. But in life, emotional pain does something deeper. It says, look closer. There's something here to learn. Mental toughness is not the absence of pain. It's the willingness to sit with it long enough to understand it, because inside every pain is a lesson, and inside every lesson is the next level of your strength. 2. Failure is feedback, not finality. Failure is not a dead end. It is data. It is redirection. It is a brutally honest mirror reflecting where your skills, mindset, or strategy still need to grow. You are not your failure. You are who you choose to become after it. Let this sink in. Every setback you've ever experienced was preparing you for something greater if you were willing to stay in the fight. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He didn't say, I failed. He said, I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. That's not arrogance. That's mental toughness. The refusal to be defined by defeat. 3. Rejection is redirection to alignment. Yes, rejection hurts. It stings. It humiliates. But rejection is often protection in disguise. The job you didn't get, the person who left, the door that slammed, those weren't punishments. They were prunings, cutting away what doesn't belong to the highest version of you. Every time someone says no, you're being guided to a deeper yes, a yes to your path, your calling, your truth. The mentally tough don't chase approval. They chase alignment. And they trust that rejection is not loss, it's refinement. Now let's talk about the alchemy, how to turn your pain into power. Step 1, feel it. Don't flee it. You can't transform what you won't touch. You must let the pain rise, cry, rage, sit in silence, right? Walk. But don't run from it. And for heaven's sake, don't numb it with distractions, addictions, or business. The strongest minds were built by those who dared to stay present with the ache, because what you feel you can heal, and what you heal becomes your strength. Step 2. Name the lesson. Pain always carries wisdom if you listen. Ask, what did this experience teach me about myself, about others, about life? Maybe it taught you boundaries. Maybe it showed you your blind spots. Maybe it revealed your resilience. Extract the gold. Write it down. That's how you stop the pain from repeating and start using it to rise. Step 3, use it as fuel. This is where the transformation begins. The pain becomes energy, the failure becomes urgency, the rejection becomes fired. When your legs get tired, remember the people who counted you out. When doubt creeps in, remember the moments you almost gave up but didn't. When comfort tempts you, remember the suffering you survived and refuse to waste it. Mental toughness isn't just about grit. It's about transmutation, turning wounds into weapons. You don't just survive the fire, you become it. So let me ask you, what if your pain isn't the thing holding you back, but the thing that was always meant to launch you forward? What if your worst day was simply the ground beneath your greatest growth? What if rejection, failure, and heartbreak didn't shrink your potential, but revealed it? You have a choice. You can carry your pain like a weight, or you can wear it like armor. You can bury your failure in shame, or you can build your strength from its bones. You can run from rejection, or you can rise from it. Because in the end, the fire will come. But you are not here to be burned. You are here to be forged. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. James Clear, let me tell you something no one talks about in the motivational world. Your strength is not just about willpower. It's about what surrounds your willpower. You can have the strongest vision. You can be clear on your goals. You can even wake up fired up for battle. But if your environment, the people, the habits, the sounds, the energy is polluted, you will drown in distractions. You will weaken under the weight of unconscious influence. Mental toughness cannot thrive in a toxic ecosystem. Environment is not neutral. It is shaping you every second. So the question becomes, are you designing your environment to build strength, or are you drifting inside an environment that slowly dismantles it? 1. The people around you mirrors or traps. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." It's not just a quote, it's neuroscience. Your brain is wired to mirror those around you, their language, their ambition, their fears, their energy. If you surround yourself with victims, you'll start speaking in limitation. If you surround yourself with warriors, you'll start thinking in possibility. Look around. Who affirms your higher self, and who anchors your lower self? Who calls you to discipline, and who comforts your weakness? Mental toughness begins with relational pruning. Let go of those who drain your fire, and seek out those who challenge your growth. Remember, one aligned conversation can do more for your mindset than a year of consuming motivational quotes. 2. The physical space, sanctuary, or distraction. Where do you live? Work, think, and dream, because your outer world shapes your inner state. Clutter breeds chaos. Disorder invites distraction. Noise erodes focus. Design a space that calls you into power. A space with reminders of who you want to become. A space that breathes clarity, order, strength. That might mean removing digital clutter, creating a designated war room for deep work, placing visual cues of your goals and values, eliminating triggers that sabotage discipline, junk food, notifications, negative media. The mind becomes what it constantly sees and hears, so give it clean signals. 3. The digital environment, algorithm, or alignment. In today's world, your environment isn't just physical, it's digital. And here's the hard truth, your phone may be the strongest influence on your mindset. Are you scrolling through dopamine traps, or are you curating digital input that sharpens your focus and deepens your purpose? You have more control than you think. Unfollow noise, mute negativity, subscribe to substance. Curate your feed like your future depends on it, because it does. What you consume consumes you. 4 rituals as environmental anchors. Mental strength doesn't happen randomly. It is trained repeatedly through structure. Rituals are environmental anchors. They remind your nervous system, this is who I am, this is what I do. Consider a morning ritual that centers you before the world pulls at you. An evening wind down that clears your mind and prepares for restoration. A weekly reset where you reflect, realign, and recommit. These moments, small as they seem, shape your mental rhythm. They protect your energy. They reclaim your focus. They whisper to your subconscious, I am in command here. 5. Guarding the gates. Be ruthless with influence. Mental toughness requires mental boundaries. You must become ruthless about what enters your mind. That means say no to conversations that drain your spirit. Say no to news that keeps you addicted to outrage. Say no to entertainment that normalizes mediocrity. Say no to self-talk that undermines your fire. You are not being sensitive. You are being strategic. If your mind is the command center of your destiny, then you must defend it like a fortress. Let me leave you with this. You will not rise above the atmosphere you breathe. So build an atmosphere that oxygenates your courage. Build a room where your dreams feel normal. Build a life where discipline is easier than distraction, because everything around you supports it. Your environment is either feeding your fire or it's quietly extinguishing it. And every day you wake up inside that ecosystem, you're either being pulled closer to your strength or further into your smallness. So decide. Craft the ecosystem your future self will thank you for, because destiny isn't just determined by desire, it's shaped by design. When you know your why, you can endure anyhow. Viktor Frankl, what drives a person to keep going when everything falls apart? Not motivation, not money, not ego or applause. Purpose. Purpose is the fuel that doesn't burn out. Purpose is the reason behind the resistance. It is the deeper why behind every act of self-discipline, behind every sacrifice, behind every quiet morning when no one is watching and you're still choosing to rise. Without purpose, toughness becomes shallow, it cracks under pressure. But with purpose, true, soul-rooted purpose, you become a force that does not yield. Purpose is more than passion, let's be clear. Passion is fleeting. It rises with emotion and fades with challenge. Purpose is deeper. It is not just what you love, it's what you're willing to suffer for. It's the mission that gives pain meaning, the cause that makes the hardship worth it. When life tests you, passion can vanish. But purpose whispers, this is bigger than you. That's the kind of fuel that keeps the fire burning when the world goes dark, too. The mental shift from self to service, the toughest people in history were not just chasing personal greatness. They were serving something greater than themselves. Think of Martin Luther King Jr., marching forward through death threats. Think of Mother Teresa giving her life to the forgotten. Think of a single mother working 3 jobs, not because it's easy, but because her children's future matters more than her comfort. Purpose elevates you from ego to legacy. It shifts your identity from, I need to survive, to, I am here to serve. And service is the deepest source of resilience known to man. When your goal is no longer just about you, you will not quit, because quitting would mean betraying the people, the dream, the calling that depend on you. 3, finding your purpose, listening to the quiet voice. You don't create your purpose. You uncover it. It's been whispering to you all along, beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the pressure to conform. It shows up in your deepest pain and your deepest curiosity. It lives where your heartbreak meets your talent, where the question, why am I here, intersects with who needs me most. To find your purpose, ask what breaks your heart. What gives you energy no matter how tired you are? What injustice can you not look away from? What truth are you willing to be ridiculed for? Your purpose lies in the answers that scare you the most, because it demands your full soul. For purpose transforms pain into power. When you know why you're here, even suffering becomes sacred. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in Auschwitz, watched many break under despair. But those who survived were often the ones who had a reason to live, someone to return to, something to finish, a mission to fulfill. He wrote, in some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. This is why purpose is the ultimate fuel. It doesn't erase pain. It gives it meaning. When life cuts you, purpose stops the bleeding. When failure humiliates you, purpose lifts your chin. When fear tries to freeze you, purpose tells you keep going. Live on purpose, not accident. The mentally tough don't stumble through life. They live deliberately. Every decision, every day, is filtered through the lens of their calling. Does this serve the mission? Does this distract me from the higher path? Is this what the person I'm becoming would choose? Purpose becomes your compass. It says no when others say yes. It leads you through storms when others stay in shelter. It is not always comfortable, but it is always right. And in a world addicted to comfort, living with purpose is rebellion. It is how you rise above noise, weakness, and triviality. Let me ask you, what is your fight really about? Is it just about success, validation, money? Or is there something greater pulling you forward? Because until your life is anchored in something eternal, your strength will always be conditional. But the day you truly grasp your why, the day your life is gripped by meaning, you become unshakable. Not because you're fearless, but because you've found something more important than fear. Your life is not an accident. You are here for a reason. And every battle you've fought, every scar you carry, every tear you've hidden has been pointing you toward that reason. Find it. Follow it, and build your toughness not just to survive life, but to serve something worthy with it. Because purpose is not a luxury. It is your foundation. It is your fire. It is your reason to endure, and your reason to rise. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Abraham Lincoln, there comes a moment in every journey, quiet, invisible, often unnoticed, where the fire of motivation fades and the storm of emotion rises. It's the moment when you no longer feel like continuing. When exhaustion whispers, it's not worth it. When fear says, you're not good enough. When doubt yells, turn back. And in that moment, you face the final trial, not against the world, not against your past, but against yourself. Because the greatest battle of mental toughness is this: Will you stay committed when emotion tells you to quit? 1. Emotion is temporary. Commitment is eternal. Emotions are waves. They rise, crash, and pass. But commitment is the shoreline, steady, silent, still standing. Every champion you admire has felt what you feel: discouragement, fear, fatigue, boredom. But the difference, they didn't bow to emotion. They bowed to mission. They didn't ask, do I feel like it? They asked, is this aligned with who I said I'd become? That's the shift. That's the moment when boys become men, when girls become women, when wanderers become warriors. You stop negotiating with your emotions and start honoring your word. 2. Your word is your weapon in the end. Mental toughness is not about raw strength. It's about integrity with yourself. When you say, I will rise at 5 a.m., and you rise, something inside you strengthens. When you say, I will not break, and you don't, your self-trust grows. But every time you let emotion overrule commitment, every time you shrink back because you don't feel like it, you teach your mind that your feelings are the master and your purpose is the servant. No more. Today you draw the line. You declare, my emotions may scream, but my commitment decides. 3. The quiet strength of consistency. You won't always be inspired. You won't always feel courageous. You won't always be confident. But if you are consistent, you will win. Show up anyway. Train anyway. Speak with truth anyway. Take the next step, especially when it's hard. This is where mental toughness is tested, not in peak moments of adrenaline, but in the long, quiet trenches of repetition, day after day, hour after hour, drip by drip, brick by brick. That's how warriors are built, not by habit. 4. Burn the plan B. If you leave yourself an exit, your emotions will take it. But if you commit, fully, completely, ruthlessly, if you remove the option of escape, your mind stops asking, should I keep going? And starts asking, how will I keep going? That's the power of full commitment. It doesn't leave room for hesitation. It shuts the door on quitting. It makes pain a passage, not a prison. So burn the backup plan, burn the excuses, burn the emotional loopholes. Leave only one path forward. 5. You are who you choose to be in the moment you want to quit. This is the final trial. It doesn't happen on stage. It doesn't happen in applause. It happens in silence. It's the voice at 5 a.m. It's the 3rd rejection email. It's the 1,000th repetition. It's the lonely, grinding moment when nobody cares, and you show up anyway. And that's the moment that separates the strong from the soft, the chosen from the lost, the few from the many. Because in that moment, you have one choice. Will you follow your emotion, or will you follow your commitment? Mental toughness is not forged in passion. It is proven in perseverance. Let your feelings rise. Let them scream. Let them twist. But never let them make your decisions. Your commitment is not a mood, it is a vow. And those who honor that vow, through the fire, through the fatigue, through the temptation to quit, become unstoppable. You were never meant to break. You were meant to bend, to burn, to bleed, but not to break. There's a moment, quiet, unannounced, when a person realizes they are no longer who they once were. The fears that once froze them no longer hold the same power. The doubts that once defined them are now shadows in the rearview mirror. The pain that once tried to bury them has become the soil in which their roots grew deep. This is the moment I want to leave you with, a sacred truth. There is something unbreakable inside you. It has always been there, and now you've remembered. 1, you were built for resistance. Think about it. Your heart beats in the dark with no permission, no applause. Your lungs expand without you thinking. Your bones heal after they break. Your mind adapts under pressure. You were created for endurance, biologically, spiritually, emotionally. So when the world says you can't, when your past screams you're not enough, when failure hisses, you don't fold. You return to that core, that fire, that unchangeable place within you that says, I've come too far. I won't back down now. 2. The real you was never fragile. Let's strip away the labels, strip away the trauma, the past, the shame, the pressure to perform. What remains? The part of you that refuses to be broken. The child who kept dreaming even after the world said, be realistic. The fighter who stood back up after the fall. The soul who kept loving even when betrayed. That version of you, the one beyond ego, beyond insecurity, that's the real you, unbreakable. Not because you never hurt, but because you never stayed down. 3. The final transformation. From reaction to creation, this journey hasn't just been about toughness. It's been about becoming whole, no longer reacting to life, but creating life. You now walk differently. You face challenges not as threats, but as invitations. You welcome pressure because pressure reveals your power. You don't run from discomfort. You use it. You don't seek easy, you seek meaning. You don't ask for less adversity. You ask for greater purpose to meet it, because you now know it was never about the world going easy on you. It was about you becoming strong enough to carry the weight of greatness. 4. The unbreakable one within you, this is your charge. Never again confuse emotions with direction. Never again hand your power to circumstance. Never again believe the lie that you are limited by what has happened to you. You are not the product of your pain. You are the producer of your path. You are not here to survive. You are here to lead. Lead yourself. Lead others. Lead with quiet strength and unshakable resolve. You are unbreakable, not because life is easy, but because you have become the kind of person who does not yield. 5. This is the beginning. This isn't the end of your story. It's the activation of it. From this moment on, your life is your message. Let every choice reflect your commitment. Let every step echo your integrity. Let every failure refine, not define you. You carry something rare. And the world doesn't need more noise, more ego, more speed. It needs people like you. People who walk with fire in their chest and calm in their soul. People who don't need to be seen, but need to serve. People who will rise again and again and again. This is your time. This is your charge. You are unbreakable. Now go remind the world what that looks like.